say Shot City, Shot City, Shot City. I'm coming home again.
All right. Welcome to DSN's very first podcast. In this segment, we're going to be talking a little bit about the NBA playoffs, and although we're going to be addressing a variety of issues in these podcasts, whether it could be Q&A from fans, Derryfield Sports, or NFL Draft, which we'll get to later today. I'll start it off right now. Celtics played a great game last night.
They certainly did.
Got the dub against the 76ers. I think the most important thing we need to address is three-point shooting. Celtics shot around 50% from three last night, and the 76ers shot under 25%. We know the 76ers will be streaky shooters. They'll eventually start knocking them down. They have too many shooters not to make them. Do you guys think that the Celtics can keep up plus 35% three-point shooting, and will that be enough to win the series?
They're most likely not going to be able to keep up that performance. I mean, Terry Rozier is playing out of his mind right now.
7 for 9 last night. Really.
And although he's going crazy right now, I think Game 2 is really going to be the decider. If they can take Game 2 and really step up and play the same defense they've been playing, I think they got a good shot to take the series. But if they can hold Embiid back, if they can hold Simmons back and limit Redick's shooting, that'll be the keys to their victory.
I mean, we know the Celtics can score. That's not really the question. And we're gonna get Jaylen Brown probably back for Game 2, which will really help us in the long run. But we're such a deep team right now, especially with the way that Marcus Smart's been shooting and Aaron Baines has been shooting. I mean, those guys to me are like the X factors in this series because they shot 4 for 10 last night. I haven't seen Baines make many threes in his whole career, and Smart's been injured and just came back. So I mean, those guys, they can keep shooting well. It's going to be a real game changer during the series.
Sure, and you talked a little bit about Joel Embiid. Do you guys think there's any way to contain Joel Embiid? Obviously, had a great night last night. Aaron Baines really, I'm not going to say he got exposed because he did his best. He's just smaller than him.
And Embiid just a better athlete too, and it's really hard to guard a guy with such length and such skill. He's in a big man's body, but he could be playing a small forward if he wasn't that tall. He 31 points last night. Yeah, I mean, he played really well, and it's gonna be tough to slow him down. But I'd rather have him drop 31 points than have Simmons go off and Redick shoot well. And if we can contain the other guys, Embiid can drop 30 points each night, then we can still win if we shut down the rest of the team.
And I think if you just give it to Embiid, he's going to do damage either way, but it's really Simmons. I mean, when you look at the plus-minus, Simmons is a negative 21, Saric is a negative 20. It's those guys keying on that usually show up day in and day out on the Sixers' crazy run. I think it's only their second loss in the last 21 games. So if we can target their role players and let Embiid just eat, I think that minimizes the damage. It's when Covington gets hot, Saric gets hot, Redick gets hot. It's all those guys coming together that makes the 76ers dirty in a way and kind of really good at times. But you saw last night when they're not on and the Celtics defense is on, they're really limited to just Embiid and just Simmons, where then I think the Celtics can really take over.
In the first series, we saw that whole team can score. Last night, it wasn't the team we've been seeing, and I think we're going to see that Sixers team eventually come out sooner or later. I know Boston's a really tough place to play, so it's not going to be that easy for them to get in the swing of things. Maybe when they get back to Philly, they might start to play a little better. But I mean, if we keep on this pressure, Marcus Smart plays with so much heart. He's on the ground for every ball. I don't see many Sixers guys doing that. I don't think they want it as much as us right now, but I think once they start shooting well and get comfortable, they're going to be hard to stop.
Yeah, and I think right now, if you're the 76ers, focus on this game, get the split away, coming back home. That's a big game to win on the road because Philly's a tough place to play. We all know how crazy their fans can be. Embiid actually talked about it in an interview last night when they asked him about if the fans were bothering him. They were chanting to Ben Simmons about how he's not a rookie, or they were harassing him and stuff, and he said not really because our fans are louder.
I mean, we know how important it is to have home court advantage, to have that extra game at home, especially a game like Game 5 and Game 7, 2 of the last 3 late games in the series. It really does make a difference down the stretch, and that showed against the Bucks. if we didn't have that Game 7 at home, I'm not sure how that series would have ended, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't proven that we can win on the road yet, so that's a big step that this young team needs to take for the Celtics.
I think another thing too that the Celtics aren't doing enough of is getting offensive boards and just getting boards in general. I mean, they got out-rebounded 58-44, which isn't bad going against a team with Embiid and some of these bigger guys, but that's where I think that and turnovers, 10 turnovers last night, is a lot for a Brad Stevens team, and that's where the Celtics get beat. Because playing against Giannis, they got blown out in Game 6 on turnovers. Every time fast break, bucket, bucket, bucket. That's where Simmons is going to eat. That's where Embiid's going to eat. If you can limit that, get some rebounds, I think that's where you win the game. It's not like jumping out ahead with a 30-point lead against Philly. It's grinding out the whole game. I think that's how they've been trying to do it throughout the season. I mean, they went for 3-4 with them this season, but the one game they lost was just, I think they had 16 or 17 turnovers in December, and they just got blown out. Every turnover you get, someone's going to run up and just chuck it up to Embiid for a slam.
Yeah, all right. I was thinking we could actually open it up to the rest of the NBA.
Yeah.
I had a question to pose you guys. Who do you think is going to be the most important player in their respective series? Obviously, we have 4 series, the Celtics, 76ers, Raptors, Cavs, Warriors, Pelicans, and Jazz, Rockets. We might as well just start with the Celtics since we're already on that topic. I can go first. Actually, this is the only one I have 2 for, and I have Ben Simmons and Marcus Morris. I think we saw a rookie Ben Simmons last night, if there is one. He wasn't really adjusted. He wasn't mentally there. He was jawing with Marcus Smart a little bit. I think he's going to settle down a little bit, and when he plays his game, gets his assists were low last night, so I think that's a big part of it. And Marcus Morris, when he's making shots, that's good, but when he's not making shots, then he eats up a lot of space and he's really negative. What about you, Brian?
For me, I think it has to be Al Horford. That's really the key to this entire Celtics team. When you look at it all season, he's been the most consistent player. But in the playoffs, he's leading the Celtics in points, rebounds, blocks, and he's really doing it all out there. And you saw in the last series, when Al doesn't score 20 points, the Celtics are 0-3. So I think it's a really big focus on Al Horford. And obviously, Terry Rozier too. Can he keep up this heat? Can he keep going? But I think Al Horford has to be the focus for the Celtics.
I think for me, and I'll say one for the team, for the Celtics, I'm going to go with Marcus Smart. I think you saw that the dynamics of the Celtics team change in the first series when he came back, and like how much he changed that series. I think he can do the same thing as you saw last night. His 3-point shooting was really good, and he seemed to be playing really well. And then for the Sixers, I'm going to go with JJ Redick. I think they need a scoring guard like him to play really well, and he usually plays relatively good defense throughout the season. So I think if he plays that good defense and can help shut down a guy like Rozier, Smart, even Larkin, I think they'll find more success that way.
Yeah, definitely. Redick was actually the first guy I wrote down before I decided on Simmons. All right, let's move on to Raptors Cavs. I'm going to go with Kevin Love. I think in the first series, Cavs vs. Pacers, we saw the Kevin Love that we've been seeing for most of the playoffs, and that's not a basketball Kevin Love that we want to see. It's not a player. He's not getting boards, which is what he did for most of his early career in Minnesota. And I know the Cavs like to play him so that he stretches the floor, but he wasn't making his shots. LeBron can't do it all, as much as I would love to say he can do it all. And other people think he can do it all. You saw him; he was exhausted.
He's tired.
Yeah, he was tired.
You can't ask for 38 minutes a night every single game for a whole season, especially against the Pacers. I mean, I had the Pacers winning that series, but it was pretty damn close. It came down to it. And LeBron, for me, is the key for this series just because he has the power to take over and just win a series. It can just be him, but LeBron starts getting tired and the rust starts forming. I think the Raptors could beat them 4-0, 4-1. It all depends on LeBron, but it's LeBron at the end of the day. He'll be back, he'll be ready. I still have Toronto winning the series because who do the Cavs have on the bench?
Exactly.
And
They don't have anyone.
For me, my X factor, it has to be Tristan Thompson. Sorry, I was going to say Tyron Lue, he's the coach. Interesting. I think it's Tristan Thompson because the coaching staff needs to get some trust into Tristan Thompson. He played so well in that Game 7. Like, LeBron had to come out for a few minutes and get some rest, and he stepped up to the plate and, like, really performed almost excellently. He almost had a double-double in that game, in Game 7, like, the most crucial game of the series. And I think if he gets some more minutes and he can throw in 10 points and get, like, 6 or 8 rebounds, I mean, he's an excellent offensive rebounder, and to get those extra opportunities for the team, that can be a real game changer in any series.
Yeah, all right, let's move on to Warriors-Pelicans. I'm going to go with Rajon Rondo here. I think playoff Rondo is a lot different than regular season Rondo, as Celtic fans are very familiar with, both when he was playing on their team and last year when he almost single-handedly beat them in the first round of the playoffs. Anthony Davis is going to get his buckets, and Drew Holiday has been playing out of his mind lately, and he has to keep that up. But at the end of the day, if the Pelicans really want a chance, Rondo's the facilitator, and he's got to work it around.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, I couldn't even pick a player to be my X factor. It was more of a playing style. I think the Pelicans have to slow down the game in order to have a chance to beat the Warriors, because the Warriors, when they get more shots, that's when they're most successful. When they're going in the court, Curry's checking up threes. I mean, he's made back for Game 2 probably, and they already got blown out in Game 1 without Curry. So, I mean, it's going to be really tough for the Pelicans to have a chance, but I think they really have to slow down the game, play their own game, take it down low, play the old school basketball to try to beat them, because if the score is in over 100 points, it's going to be really hard for them to outscore the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Warriors are another team too with KD and Thompson. You can't beat them in transition. So for me, I think Drew Holiday's the X factor, because the defense he plays and the mindset he brings is similar to Marcus Smart, where if he wants to, he can kind of take over a game just with his hustle and his athleticism. But at the end of the day, I think AD and the Pelicans are done 4-0 to the Warriors, with or without Curry.
All right, let's move on to the final series, Jazz Rockets. And for this one, I have Rudy Gobert. It was really hard not to write down Donovan Mitchell's name right now, just with how well he's playing. But I think he's playing so well right now that he's a given. He's a given scorer. And the Rockets, they're going to work it around. They got Harden and Paul. Clint Capella's a huge X factor for them. There's not many people in the NBA that can guard Clint Capella, but Rudy Gobert is one of them, and he needs to step up if they're going to have a chance in this series.
For me, because I think the Jazz have to be able to match some of the scoring output from three-point land that the Rockets are going to put out with Harden and even Eric Gordon, Chris Paul. They can all shoot their threes. Ryan Anderson is still on that team. I think that Joe Ingles, he's going to have to make as many threes as he gets like opportunities to shoot, because I mean the guy can really shoot. He's been really improving this season, and if he can knock down some threes, and Mitchell's going to do his thing. I mean, he's going to get his 20, 30, maybe even possibly a 40-point game in there. I mean, he's been playing lights out. I mean, he's going to get his points. So the X factor to me has to be Joe Ingles and his scoring.
I mean, for me, it's got to be Jerebko. 6 minutes in Game 1, huge performance, but I really don't think it matters when you go against CP3 and Harden. Even if Donovan Mitchell goes off for 45, I don't think he can do enough. I think it has to be a different guy, like maybe even Jay Crowder or Favors or someone to step up and get in Harden's face to really give the Jazz any possible chance they have. So I think it has to be some sort of defender on James Harden to slow him down. If you slow him down, I think you have a chance against the Rockets. I mean, even the Celtics gave up 45 to Harden, but at the end of the game when it counts, Marcus Smart showing up big, slowing him down. That's how you beat the Rockets. That's how you beat the Warriors. You have to slow down their offense and then get your opportunities when they come.
Let's be honest, Brian just likes to pass out his player. Let's be honest.
All right, let's move towards wrapping it up here. I'll ask the two of you who you have in the respective series and how many games. Trent, Celtics, 76ers.
They're going to go the distance, Celtics in 7.
All right, what about the Raptors, Cavs?
I'm gonna go Raptors in 5.
And the Warriors Pelicans.
Warriors in 4.
Oh, no.
And Jazz Rockets.
This may be a shot. I think the Jazz are gonna come back and win in 7. I love Donovan Mitchell and what they do. I mean, if they can somehow find a way to slow down that team, I think they can take them down in 7.
Awesome. All right, Brian, Celtics 76ers.
I got the Celtics 4-2. I think Game 2 is the biggest game in the series for them. If they can take Game 2, I think from then on, it's just going to be trading games until it's eventually over. But I got the Celtics.
Raptors Cavs.
I got the Raptors going. I think it might be a Game 7. I mean, although the Raptors are playing so good right now, LeBron James is their kryptonite. It has been in the past. It will continue to be. He's the best player in the world right now, and I think he can take over any game he wants. So I got Raptors in 7.
All right, and Warriors Pelicans.
I got Warriors 4-0.
And Jazz Rockets.
I got Rockets 4-1.
Rockets in 5. All right.
Let's return the question to you, Jeff, so you get your input in here too.
Let's hear
Who do
it.
you
Alright.
have? Celtics, Sixers.
Okay. I'm gonna go Celtics in 6.
Okay.
I think the 76ers will drop a game on the road. But I think it'll be a tough battle throughout, and it could easily go the other way.
I think here's a series the audience wants to know.
Sure.
Raptors, Cavs. You guys didn't know Jeff's a Cavs fan, so let's see what he says in
I'm
this
not a
one.
Cavs fan. I am a LeBron fan.
Anyways, Raptors, Cavs. Here you go.
You're right.
Yeah, but if you're a LeBron fan, then you are a Cavs fan. 'cause
I'm a
it's the
LeBron
whole
fan.
thing.
All right.
That's a discussion for
Let's
later.
answer this. I got Cavs in 6.
Cavs.
Are we
I
sure?
I got Cavs in 6. I think best player often win the series. Obviously, didn't happen in Celtics Bucks. Happened in a lot of other series. I think LeBron James can do enough. I think Kevin Love, J.R. Smith. I think Rodney Hood when he comes back. I think those guys will step up.
We're just gonna move along from this question.
Yeah.
Can we do Warriors and Pelicans?
Yeah, I got the Dubs in 4.
Yeah, I think that's a common theme in this room.
And
I think we're clear on that.
yeah, and Jazz Rockets, I got the Rockets in 5. I think Donovan Mitchell's going to have his game. But other than that, I think the Rockets are going to take it. So I think we're going to wrap up our segment on the NBA. We'll move on to the NFL draft next. I hope you guys enjoyed our first podcast. Welcome back to the DSN Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the NFL Draft in this segment. And we have Brendan Sheehan in as our NFL Draft analyst.
And expert. I mean, we must say.
Yes, well, self-acclaimed expert. I'll just pose the question to you guys right off the bat. Who won the draft and why? Go ahead, Trent.
I'm gonna go with the Giants. First reason, to me, they're the best player in the draft. Sorry, Bino loves Baker Mayfield. Saquon Barkley was the best talent in the draft. The man is a freak athlete. Like in the open, he can get the job done. Like for me, he's the best running back I've seen. I think he's gonna probably be better than Ezekiel Elliott. Like he looks to be the real deal. I'm calling it right now. He is the real deal. And then I really like their pick late. I think it was 4th round. They picked a quarterback from Richmond, Colorado. I think getting that quarter.
It took did they take Lillard or did they take Mike White? No, that was the Cowboys.
They took a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a really good guy developing. Those small school guys, they're tough to get a read on because they don't play the biggest of talents. They don't play the Georgia, the Alabama, so on and so forth. So I think he's a player that they can really possibly develop. And then, speaking of that Georgia team, they took Lorenzo Carter, who's also another freak athlete linebacker who people will be afraid of, quarterbacks will be really afraid of coming next season.
All right, Bean. What about you?
I'm going to go ahead and say the Browns won the draft. Baker Mayfield, first overall, perfect fit. I don't think he's the best player in the draft. I think Bradley Chubb is the best player in the draft. And Saquon a close second.
Wrong.
But I think the Browns won. They also had the 4th pick, Denzel Ward, cornerback of Ohio State.
I like that.
I think that's a great pick. I think it would have been better if they'd taken Chubb. I think Chubb would have a better impact. But I think Ward's a really good player. 2nd round, They took an offensive lineman who can help protect my boy, Baker Mayfield. And
I mean Tyrod Taylor, right?
Baker Mayfield. I don't think they need to rush Baker into the starting spot, but I think he's a good fit there. I think he can change the culture of that team. I think he can get them some wins. They helped their defense in the 3rd round with Chad Thomas from Miami. I think he's going to be a good fit on their defensive line. I think Baker is going to help that team get some wins next year.
Jeff, before you give your answer to this question, I just want to ask you one question about Baker Mayfield. Do you think he comes in this season and starts off the bat?
No, I don't think he should.
Okay. Why draft a quarterback at the number 1 pick, and if he's not even going to start his first year? He was a draft
No quarterback
should
should start their first year.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz, he did well. It doesn't mean he should have started. It's better
Deshaun
to
Watson.
ease a quarterback. And listen, this
There's
league,
so many guys.
this league, you cannot
Draft him high.
win in this league if you don't have a good quarterback. So that forces the sucky teams to draft a quarterback high. That's why all these quarterbacks went high over players like Bradley Chubb, who are in Saquon. That's why he was drafted over Saquon, because you need a quarterback to win.
Yes, but
And Baker-
they just signed Howard Taylor.
Okay.
Yes, Tyrod Taylor's not going to win you Super Bowl.
Neither did Baker Mayfield.
Yes, he is.
All right, I'll give
Fight,
my answer,
fight.
and then we'll go back to this. Trent obviously is not a fan of what Brennan just said, but I'm gonna go with the Broncos as winning the draft. I think Bradley Chubb is a once-in-a-generation type player. I think the debate's gonna be going for a while whether who's better, him or Saquon. I think
He's better than Baker.
He is.
I think Von Miller was so hyped about that pick because his sack numbers are going to skyrocket this year with Bradley Chubb opposing him on the defensive line. I really love their pick of Cortland Sutton. I think he'll be a stud. Sutton.
Son, my bad.
Sutton.
My bad.
I think he's going to be a stud wide receiver for the years to come. And I also think someone that flew under the radar was Royce Freeman, who's the running back that they took. He had 16 touchdowns, and I think it was close to 1,500 yards. I think, Brian, do you have something to say about that?
So what skill position do you think Denver fixed in this draft for them? What was their biggest need this offseason?
Can I help reply to this question?
Sure, I have an answer to it.
I don't think it was. I don't remember a few years ago when Denver made that Super Bowl run. It was because of their defense. They're a defensive city, the defensive team, defensive franchise, and they really brought that defensive mentality back by drafting him to pair with Von Miller to go out there. I don't think they were thinking of filling gaps. They're going back to their ways of how they got to the Super Bowl.
And I'm going to agree with Jeff about Royce Freeman. I think he's a guy who can come in there and have an instant impact in that running game.
And I think Cortland Sutton might actually have a higher ceiling than players we see like Demaryius Thomas out there, who have been underachieving a little bit, at least recently, at least last season for sure. And in terms of skill position, I think Royce Freeman's a huge upgrade over C.J. Anderson. There's a reason. I think C.J. was he cut or did he sign with another team? I don't think he's with them anymore. That's my point.
And they definitely have some. I mean, they have other young running backs in now right now. They still have Devontae Booker, I believe, who
They do.
has some
He's good.
flashes of brightness there. I think Jamal Charles needs to get out of there. I don't know if he's still there, but he's old, man. He's old.
I don't know if he's there. All right.
It's just hard to run the ball when you don't have an offensive line.
That's true.
Brian clearly feels like they should have taken.
Well, it's going to be hard for
Offensive line.
opponents to score when they can't get in the end zone either.
That's true, but when you got Trevor Siemian throwing the ball, how are you supposed to score anything?
They still
That's
got
why you got to
Paxton
draft
too.
quarterback high.
They still have
That's
Paxton
true. I
Lynch.
was a little surprised that they did not take a quarterback, but who knows? Maybe next year.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks, staying on quarterbacks.
All right.
Well, I think we know his answer about Baker.
Who's the best quarterback?
I want to know who down the line is going to be the best quarterback from this draft.
All right, I have my answer, and it's Mason Rudolph.
And give me a reason to win.
Okay, so I think Mason Rudolph is the best pocket passer in this draft. He's got a bigger frame than the rest of the quarterbacks. He might not be as mobile. He's still mobile enough. I think he's going to fit into the Steelers system really well whenever Big Ben decides to walk away, and now he has the liberty to walk away. He's been toying with it for a couple of years because he's had injury problems. I think Mason Rudolph maybe develop him this year. Then next year or the year after that, he steps right in as a their starting quarterback, and he's got probably the best offense in the NFL to play with.
Yeah,
So,
it's great to hear that you think he's going to get a starting role off the bat. Whereas Beando, I'm going to assume you're going to
He's
say
playing under Roethlisberger for a year.
I mean, I think you're going to say Baker Mayfield.
I'm not going to say Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
I don't think Baker
Mayfield.
Mayfield is the best in the draft. I think he is a perfect fit for Cleveland.
So who's the best quarterback? in this
Luke
draft?
Falk out of Washington.
Down the line.
Down the line, right now he's
who
not.
did he even get drafted
He's
by?
by the Titans. He's
One
stuck
of the
under Marcus
Titans.
Mariota.
America, explain.
He's stuck under Mariota for probably too long, but he's gonna end up
He's
being.
not even that good.
He's gonna end up being just like Jimmy Garoppolo. He's gonna get his chance with a different team, and he's gonna have the chance to succeed. And I think he will because he keeps his eyes downfield. He can find his second, third options, and he makes accurate
Here's the
throws.
thing. Garoppolo and Brady is totally different because Brady's like 45 years old. Like he was old. Mariota is not going to disappear or get old anytime soon.
No, I know. Garoppolo's not playing for the Patriots.
I know, but so you think they drafted that quarterback to get traded?
No, I think they drafted him to back up Mariota, but I think he's going to outperform their expectations, and he's going to become a good starting quarterback down the line.
So you think he's going to take over?
No, I think he's going to go to
So
a different
he's
team.
getting traded?
He's going to a different team or free agency, but he's going to find his way to a different team and be successful.
Okay.
What do you think it takes to be the best quarterback in the draft? For me, I think it has to be athleticism. You look at guys like Russell Wilson, Deshaun
You're
Watson,
about to say what I think.
Carson Wentz. All these guys are so athletic. So when you get a big, burly, huge quarterback that can't throw, that's not going to work.
Right? You're killing me.
I like Lamar Jackson in this draft.
So
That's just me.
Let me ask-
No matter how much you hate that pick, look at his stats.
He runs the ball. 50% of his touchdowns are running into the end zone. The last quarterback that tried to do that was RG3, and he doesn't have knees anymore.
Worked out pretty
let me
well.
ask you this thing. So you said that Baker's a perfect fit in Cleveland.
Yes.
And he's such a good talent, not based off of just throwing abilities. It's because he's agile. He can run.
He can.
And he's agile. That's why he was seen as a better quarterback, as in like he has that skill because he's not just a throwing
I think
quarterback.
a lot of quarterbacks have the mobility in the pocket. Russell Wilson's one.
Yeah.
But Russell
So-
Wilson also keeps his eyes downfield and finds Doug Baldwin from that.
So you're saying, I'm just saying, would you agree that Baker has extra value because he's an agile quarterback and can run?
Yeah, I think.
So here's my kind of argument against it. And I pulled up a few quarterbacks who have been really good in the past. Ben Roethlisberger 40-yard dash was 4.75. Peyton Manning looks slow as hell on the field and a 4.8. Baker Mayfield ran a 4.84 40-yard dash. So how is he going to be an active quarterback if he's slower than Ben Roethlisberger and Peyton Manning?
Because in the games he's not running 40 yards. He's just footwork.
But you
in the
need
pocket.
acceleration.
He's not trying to run for a first down. He's trying to evade a defensive lineman.
Why wouldn't you try to run for a first down?
Well, he can't because he's not that fast. I mean, his 40-yard time is 4.8 something. So what Baker brings, I think why Cleveland drafted Baker is his competitiveness, his leadership. I think he can be more of a leader on that team than.
You think a guy who got arrested and gets fined all the time to get a leader?
Yes, I think because. he's not
America,
getting arrested
explain.
anymore. A lot of NFL players get arrested and they still are very successful.
Yeah, but
A lot of NFL players get arrested. But that's strictly, but if we're talking about Baker Mayfield, and you say like his ability to be a leader is one of his main attributes.
and he's grabbing his
No,
nuts
no,
on
no.
the side.
How is he supposed to lead
Whoa!
in a prison cell?
Kid
In
friendly.
the prison cell.
No, it's not his ability to be a leader. It's his ability to be a douchebag.
Yeah.
Because that works.
Hey,
that,
whoa.
A doucher.
Thank you.
Whoa. I don't
So
think-
much better
I don't
now.
think we
You
can
removed
use
the
that.
word
All right.
bag. The bag was the bad word, you're right.
I don't think we can use that.
Yes.
It's fine.
Moving on.
It was probably.
Yeah, let's move on.
We move on. All right. I got a topic.
I have another thing to say.
I don't think
There
we
are,
Alright, hey.
there are no expectations of Cleveland's quarterbacks anymore.
That's not true.
If you win a game,
Give me a
you're
statement.
a freaking hero in Cleveland. So
So he's there to win a game.
no, but listen, there's no pressure on him. Like all the other quarterbacks taken high, there's pressure on them. Like you said, if they're gonna start right away, there's pressure on them to win right now.
I think there may be a little pressure being number one pick in the NFL draft.
There is.
Tad bit of pressure.
Listen.
Teeny tiny
It's lessened by being in Cleveland. it's really not. I don't really think there's a lot of pressure.
But the expectations are so high because they drafted him so highly.
If he goes 0-16, that's a letdown.
He's gonna be a flop.
If he goes 0-16,
If he goes- he's gone.
No, I agree. Clearly, he's not the pick if you go 0-16. Well, he has to start first. They have to put him in. If he doesn't play this year and they go 0-16, that's
Number
fine.
one pick's going to start.
That's different.
It's crazy.
A quarterback should never start the first year. A rookie
I
quarterback should
don't
never
know
start.
You
about
can't
that.
say that this is the Cleveland quarterback when the past 5 Cleveland quarterbacks have been the
And he's not even a
Cleveland
starter his
quarterback.
first year.
That's
Alright.
it.
I know I
That's it.
shouldn't.
Give us a new topic, Jeff Kraft.
Sure,
Give us
all
a
right.
new topic, please.
Let's talk about the battle of the Joshes. QBs.
Did you come up with that yourself?
They're both so
I
bad.
did come up with that myself. Josh Allen versus Josh Rosen.
I'll take Josh Jackson.
Hold on. First of all, tell us, give us some more details and
Alright.
say battle. Who's better in the long run? Or who's better quarterback skill wise? What do you mean by the battle?
Sure, we'll start off by talking about who do you think has a higher ceiling, and then who do you think will have the better career. I'll go ahead and go first, if you guys want to think about it right now. I think Rosen's going to outplay Josh Allen by a long shot, and I hate Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen is such an elitist. He thinks he is so much better than everyone else. He's so cocky, but it does give him a little bit of fire. I also think his stats from college, I know college doesn't necessarily translate to the NFL, they vastly outweigh Josh Allen's stats. He had a better completion percentage. He threw 13 more touchdowns this year.
Yeah, but who's Josh Allen throwing to?
At Wyoming.
Who's covering his receivers?
I guess, but the fact is that Josh Allen wasn't even a all conference player playing for Wyoming.
I think he was.
No, he wasn't. He was an honorable mention
Yeah,
last
he
year.
was not the best quarterback in that conference.
Which, I don't know, I think Josh Allen, he does have a little bit of off-field stuff. He's a bit of a goon. I think, and I also think that Josh Rosen has the better chance to succeed in Arizona compared to Buffalo. So I'd say Josh Rosen.
I think for me, I personally like as the quarterback skill, I like Josh Allen more. But I think Josh Rosen is going to have a better NFL career. I think he's put in a better situation in Arizona than Josh Allen is put in the Bills. I think Arizona's a really good quarterback place. It's a nice environment to play in. They have some wide receivers there. He's gonna learn a lot from Larry Fitzgerald. Learn information how to just be successful in the NFL. And there's not many of those players in Buffalo to really mentor him. He's going into a system where first of all, it's a crazy place to play in. Bills fans, Bills Mafia is ridiculous. But I like Josh Allen because he can throw the ball so
The damn so
he
far.
can throw the ball so far. I was watching him in the combine, and he could literally throw 70-yard dimes. It was ridiculous. His arm is a cannon. I just don't think the Buffalo is a good place for a quarterback to just come out and play.
I agree, and I think that Arizona and Buffalo actually have similar running back positions and situations. LaShawn McCoy, I'll stick with it. I think I think David Johnson is going to come back this year, and he's going to be a top 5 running back in the league. And you can quote me on that next year.
No, I agree. I'll agree with that.
So I think that will take more pressure off of Josh Rosen than LaShawn McCoy will take off.
I'm gonna disagree.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna disagree with you guys. I think Arizona is a team that's been trending downward for years.
But here's the thing, you think of it this way. Arizona is going to put out a better defensive effort than Buffalo is. Because they're going to put a little less pressure off the quarterback and the offense. Arizona's defense has been one of the best defenses the last 5 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Just going back to the question, I think.
What about their division? Who you got in their division? You got some big.
Both teams are in tough divisions.
Yeah, I think of that.
Both teams. You got the
The Patriots or the Niners.
Yeah.
Or
the Seahawks are always gonna have.
Seattle, the Rams.
The Rams, yeah, no, that's a tougher
Rams
division.
are nasty.
That's a tougher division than the AFC East, but
We gotta work towards wrapping this up.
We'll let Bino give us into this
Yeah,
question.
sure.
all right. Well, I'm saying Josh Allen higher ceiling, because even though the fact that he wasn't even is first team all conference, but he was still drafted 7th overall, kind of shows how much potential the NFL teams think he has, and he does have the rocket arm Trent talked about. I think Josh Rosen. I hate Josh Rosen. I hate him too.
Seems like that's
Least favorite quarterback in the draft. He says stupid things. He's not that good, but I think he is better now than Josh Allen. He's been throwing. He's been playing tougher competition. He's been throwing to receivers that are actually sometimes covered, whereas Josh Allen's literally playing in Wyoming.
All right. Final question. Final question. We got a minute. I'm just gonna ask you, who is the best running back in this class not named Saquon Barkley?
not named Saquon.
Not named Saquon Barkley. I'll give you my answer right now.
We know Jeff's answer.
I know. No, you don't know my answer.
I do know your answer.
No, my answer is.
All right, hey, let's go around.
All right. I have Ronald Jones.
Okay.
Going into Tampa Bay, coming off a 1550 year for USC, 19 touchdowns. He can catch the ball too. Coming into a situation where Tampa Bay just lost Doug Martin, and they relied heavily on the rushing game just because Jameis Winston's so inconsistent. I think Ronald Jones is going to have a phenomenal career in Tampa Bay as long as he can stay healthy, and that's all I'll say right now. You ready?
What do you mean, though?
All right, go ahead.
I'm gonna go with Darius Guice at LSU.
He's got some off-field problems.
He does. So
Common theme for beans.
he's nasty.
The next Eddie.
I think he is just in pure downhill running ability. He is the meanest running back in this draft class. He's going to run over people at the NFL level. I think he's going to be the most consistent, and he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler going down the line.
I think he compares too much to Derrick Henry, to be honest with you. But
He does, but Derrick Henry. I don't think he does. I think
Henry's kind of a beast.
Oh, he's a beast.
Derrick Henry.
He's developed well.
His career got off to a slow start,
Yeah.
but I think he's kind of picked it up last season and maybe going into the season. But no, I think he's different. I think he's a little more shifty. He's a little more dynamic.
All right, Trent.
So, I want to say no. I want to say Rashad Penny.
Ooh.
I really like him.
That's a good one.
I really like him, but I think he's undersized for the NFL, and I think that's where he's going to run into problems. I think it's really hard to be an undersized running back in the NFL. So I'm going to go with the guy that Jeff mentioned before earlier in our podcast, Royce Freeman. I think he's going to go into Denver, and I think he's going to start this year. I think he's going to find himself getting a lot of reps with not the greatest quarterbacks in Paxton Lynch and Trevor Siemian. I think he's going to come in, he's going to get reps, and I think he's going to be a long-time running back in Denver. I think he's going to be there for a while with a starting job.
All right, that will conclude our NFL segment in our first podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll be right back. Welcome to the first free flow segment in DSN's podcast. This is our first podcast. In this segment, we're going to be touching up a little bit on Derryfield Sports, and we're going to be addressing some Q&A questions that you guys sent us. Anybody want to get started?
Well, I say we just start with tennis while you're talking, Jeffrey.
Talk about tennis.
All right. You want to talk about tennis?
No, I'm going to pass it to you, actually.
What do you want to talk about? Okay. It's no secret, boys tennis is struggling a little bit this year. We are 3-5. This is a developmental year. We've had some good results at the top end of our lineup. Myself, Trent Henrich, and Brett Chaplin are doing well.
Trent.
That is Trent. And girls tennis is competing for a championship. They won the Division I championship last year, and they continue to do the same. They are a very deep lineup. And that's all I have to say about tennis.
Yeah, I think the men's tennis team is definitely developing for the years to come. We have 2 freshmen in the starting lineup. We have 4 on the team. Gotta give Jeff some recognition though. He hasn't lost a match all year. He's really been playing lights out. And we're about to face some tough teams, and hopefully he keeps winning his matches. And towards the end of the season, we'll have our singles and doubles tournament to kind of showcase. He can showcase his skill and how it's not. I mean, it's a team sport. Everyone's results matter, but at the same time, Jeff, myself, and Brett Chaplin have been playing really well, and we can be able to showcase our skill later in the season and see how well we really match up with other players.
All right.
Should we take it to the diamond?
We'll take it to the diamond. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Speak of.
all right. So Some players that have impressed me this season on the baseball team. I'm gonna start with Ridge Gonzalez.
Oh, you took it from me.
Second
My bad, boys. Well, he's hitting 6.67 this season. And a dinger against PCA, and he's played terrific defense at third, I think, so far. I don't know if he's made any errors. He's been really good for us in that middle of the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, he's been kind of sneaky good. Last year he was there. There was some talent there, but he wasn't. He was kind of growing as a player, and this year he's kind of fully stepped up. He's hitting big behind. He's sometimes hitting fourth or fifth in our lineup, which is pretty huge. And he's been able to drive in a bunch of runs with his batting average. I don't think he's made an error yet at third.
The Filipino Bambino.
The Filipino Bambino, baby.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I mean, our own Oliver Simon here has been pretty lights out in the games that he's been pitching. Honestly, the lefty tail on those pitches is impossible to hit. Kind of makes people look like fools out there, if I say so myself.
.583 ERA.
Yeah.
That's not too shabby.
I have
It's not too bad.
bad.
You don't play baseball.
If I did.
You want to tell everyone about your traumatic injury that kept you away from Jesus, man. Every time. I'd like to point out Charlie. I mean, another fantastic pitcher. I don't know what your ERA is, but
0.
it's damn good. And this kid behind me comes in relief whenever we get tired. And he is exceptional at his cleanup job.
Fruit Loops, baby.
Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops for
When's your
his
next
curveball.
game? Baseball. When's your next game?
Oh,
Tomorrow, Wednesday.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Home against Tinsdale.
Don't go.
Your boys are
Yeah.
Come support me. I'm starting.
If you want to see Bean light it up.
Yeah,
All
Bean's
right,
gonna start.
let's toss it to the lacrosse field, Ryan.
Well,
Lacrosse is still holding on undefeated for the past season and a half now. Last year we went 26-0, got the state championship. But this year it's really been
Big guys over here.
a big reset for us
Yeah.
because in the past we've had to deal with so much adversity, losing so many guys. I mean, we lost almost our entire defense, half our midfield. Our attack stayed the same, but it's been a little bit of a learning curve for us. And we had a big game last Saturday against Portsmouth. We won 6-5. It was a lot closer than it should have been. If we hit a couple more shots, could have broken it open. But I think that for us really solidified where we're at, and we know where we are. But I mean, we've had 2 big injuries with Weimer breaking his wrist, and Henry House had a couple of rib injuries coming up lately, and we've been battling through some other small ankle injuries. But really, the key for our lacrosse season is staying healthy and really keeping it tight and keeping it together and keeping our chemistry up. Because at times we've been battling against each other, trying to figure out how this team really works. So lacrosse, I think, will be fine, but there might be a couple hiccups in the road.
I got a question for you. Have there been any like new players this season that made a difference to the team?
Well, this year, I mean, it's mostly juniors and seniors in the starting lineup, but I mean, Weimer and Henry have been playing great up until this point. Other guys have been stepping up and playing in different positions. I mean, at least for me, I've played in 2 positions I've never played in before this season at LSM and D, and it's been a learning curve for me, but I think it's given me the knowledge to really learn every position on the field and be a better captain for everyone else out there. I mean, some other freshmen are really starting to step up, like Will Mancini, Will Hadley, Connor's coming in huge on some face-offs when we need it. And guys are really just stepping up. I mean, there's so many new positions. John Anderson's facing off for the first time, and he's doing awesome. There's just so many new positions and so many new skills that we have to pick up. And I think we're starting to catch up now because beginning of the season, everyone's still figuring out, but now we're starting to come together and really push forward.
Yeah, I'm going to give a quick shout out to girls lacrosse and track and field. We haven't touched on them yet. I know girls lacrosse, they are 5-1, and doing some research on them, we found out the 2 really outstanding athletes that we've seen from them have been Callie Bishop and Olivia Strong. Last time we checked, they both Olivia and Callie were tied for 16 goals. We don't have the stats for their most recent games, but they've been doing great work. And in terms of track and field, our favorite senior Ian Dillon. Ian Dillon is he's doing a great job this year with the rest of the track team. And Pretty much, yeah. So we'll move on.
And to touch on the girls lacrosse, I just really think it's great how much these freshmen and sophomores have been stepping up. Other faces like Isabel Plotzker and some other role players have really been coming up for their team. I mean, they lost the best scorer in D2 lacrosse last year. No, they're D3. D3 lacrosse.
Yeah,
last year.
Brian and lacrosse is D2, and then we're D1 and tennis.
We don't want to talk about it.
Wait, shout out to softball for a solid 3-1 start.
Oh,
Grade 1, yeah, and down on numbers too. That's big.
Yeah, that's actually one of our-
Seniors Emily Mall, Grace Feigl, Taylor Santoro, Swasso, and really been coming up big. I know Emily's pitching every single game. I mean, she's a lights out pitcher.
I actually have one more sport we forgot about. Rowing. Rowing. I think they've had a few regattas so far. They seem to be doing pretty well. I think they
came second.
Yeah, they came second one of their girls.
Is it the head of the fish?
I don't think they've had the head of the fish. I think that's
the fall.
Yeah, I think it'll be the fall.
Head of the fish. But shout out to Rowan. Keep doing what you're doing. We'll get in touch with you guys more with that.
Yeah,
you right about that?
that's for sure.
And make sure send us in all your photos, videos, stats, whatever
That
you
goes
guys
for all
got.
sports.
Questions. Make our podcast
Yeah.
better.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Questions.
And subscribe to DSN 2018, and we're gonna be posting this on our YouTube channel. So
Yeah, our website is going to be coming up soon. You can look us up online. That'll be a platform where you can access our social media, YouTube. We're going to be writing articles. Be sure to follow.
And we can't forget about the most popular sport right now, esports.
Esports, Fortnite.
Send in your clips.
Season 4 just started at Fortnite. We're all avid Fortnite players. We know a lot of our viewers love Fortnite.
after hours.
Mr. Myers, if you're watching, if you're the kid that's snitching us to a teacher, we're coming for you.